Hey, it's been a very, very long time. I know. Um, Life hit. I think we all understand what that means, right? When it hits you real hard and you're just like, oh my God, I can't. How am I going to keep going? How am I going to figure this out? What's the next step? And a lot of it is when you're let down or you're dealing with heartbreak or understanding you've been through trauma or just you're at a breaking point. And we all get that way. And I think a lot of the problem is we're not honest about it. A lot of people won't tell you, I can't handle life right now. And I I went through that. And it's phases. One day it's good and another day it's not. And I would try to come forward on those days. The sun is trying to shine in, but I would try to come forward on those days where it was not. And I couldn't breathe. I couldn't sort my life out. I was dealing with my children and my son leaving, and he's not gone yet, but he's now officially sworn in. So still dealing with those emotions. Very proud of him though. And it's hard when we have so many losses at once, so much change, so much, because they're not losses, especially when they're beneficial for our young ones. But all that change. And we get to a point where it's like, okay, I just got to recenter myself. I've just got to breathe. I've just got to make it through. I've just got to 1 second at a time. And I was back to that point in my life, 1 second at a time. And when I had originally left my kid's dad, it was 1 second at a time, and then it turned into 1 minute at a time, and 1 hour, and then one day. And before I knew it, months had flown by. But then I found myself back in that situation and sitting in silence. Oh my God, the noise that comes from that silence sometimes is very overwhelming. And people will say, well, what's wrong? And you saw me just tear up just talking about it. I can't put myself in that position at work. I can't put myself in that position in a happy environment. I can't. It's more so having to let it flow and let it go. And it's hard, yes, but at the same time, it's exciting. And I guess it's simply that it's change. And we have to get to a point where we can accept that change. And the best way to accept that change is to sit in that silence. It's to let the thoughts come and go, and don't dwell on them. Just let them kind of boom, 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 and create whatever symphony they're going to create in your life, because it's something that we can't control. Change is the only constant in this world, and you can't control the fact that life is always changing. It's just like our bodies. The dead cells are on the outside and the living cells are on the inside. And it's constantly recycling, and you'll be so many different new skins in a lifetime. And I don't think people realize that you're constantly regenerating and expelling and then having to start the cycle all over again. It's just like trees losing their leaves, snakes losing their skin. We can see it all around us, but yet we've pulled ourselves out of the situation of being a part of nature, so we don't realize the nature of our own selves. And when we get that pulled apart from life, it starts to not make sense to us. And that's where going inside and sitting in the silence and hearing the noise helps all of us go, oh, I'm back to being one. I'm one with everything, and everything is one with me. Then you get back into the flow, because going through what I was going through, the relationship that I was in, having to accept the fact that it was toxic. And no matter how much it hurt, I had to let it go. And then that person to keep trying to come back, to keep trying to feed and pull and let me stay, and it was testing my boundaries, my strength, my courage, the ability to love myself. And I was even asked, how can you say you love me and then just move on so easily? And the answer is, I chose myself. I chose my own happiness. I chose to put all that love that was not being reciprocated back, I put it into me because I was draining myself. I was exhausted. I was confused. I was starting to partake in toxic behaviors that I had fought so hard to get away from. If you're with people that bring you back to something that you were that you didn't enjoy being, or you worked really hard to get away from, leave those people in the past. And the past can start, you make the choice right now, and then they're gone. And it's yes, you're going to be alone for a second, but that's fine. We find the answers when we're alone. We find the noise in the silence, you know? We find understanding through misunderstandings. And the hardest part is acceptance. But you have to accept that sometimes your path changes. Sometimes life is not what you expected it to be. You know, you can go to college, you can get a degree, you can work in a field, and then all of a sudden it shuts down and you're like, but that was my plan. That was my life. That was my goal. What do I do now? You pick yourself up. You create a new plan. You put it into action and you watch how your life can flourish. It's just like I kept being called to get back in alignment with spirit. I had focused so much on the material world because I have been the financial provider for so long by myself that I had to push that to the side. And I was reminded yesterday, you are both sides of you. You are the human side that does have to earn a material way of life. You have to have that financial abundance to be able to keep a roof over your kids' heads, and you have to be able to provide clothing and food and everything that's needed in this world. But then I had forgotten the spiritual side of me, the side of me that allowed me to be more in tune, that allowed doors to open that I wasn't even knocking on, for pathways to come into fruition that I wasn't looking for. I had forgotten that because I was so stressed, depressed, bitter for a while, gave all my power away. I didn't know how to function, which is why I disappeared for as long as I did, because I was trying to sort it out. I had realized the messages I was putting out were more angry and toxic and, yeah, stand up for yourself. And that's not how I started this channel. I started this channel with the intention of saying, you know, you've been hurt, I've been hurt, let's heal together. And then it turned into something way out of alignment with where I was. But that was also being in the relationship I was in, allowing that energy to affect me, allowing the problems I was facing to start affecting the message that I was putting out. And when I realized how toxic I had become in that moment is when I had to pull back and say, okay, no, it's time to take a shower, let's say. It's time to cleanse. It is time to reset and restart. Because I went from being in a position to where I was inspiring people to keep moving forward. I was inspiring people to realize that their life wasn't ending, it was only beginning. But then I was getting to a point to what I was seeing that I was attracting through the videos I was putting out was nothing of benefit for people. I even thought about completely deleting my channel and going a different route. But instead, like I said, I took this sabbatical. I took this time for myself because it's necessary. When you can't cope with the change, you got to step back and allow the change to start occurring in your life. So you can start to accept it and slowly move forward with it, because it is hard. Change is one of the hardest things for all of us, you know, and it's okay to cry. Believe me, I've done it a lot. I was at a point where I was drinking so much, I was like, I need to join AA. And my son said something to me. He saw it on one of his workouts, and it was, is this day one or one day, you know? And that hit me hard, that my child is having to remind me how to basically rediscipline myself in life. I was the one that was the inspiration for them. I was the one that taught them that it's better to use preventative maintenance, eat mostly healthy and then you can eat the junk food, or work out and then you can stay in shape and not be hurting by the time you're 50 something years old. So for me to have stepped away from being that role model, at least he got the message and is reminding me. So I'm here to remind you, that life will get rocky. Life will change. Life will have things happen to you that just blow your mind and catch you by surprise. But don't give up. It's okay to step back. It's okay to even lay down, but don't stay down. That's the hardest part. Because we get to that, oh, woe is me, poor pitiful me, no one understands. That victim mentality is very unempowering. It takes away your want to live. It takes away your will to keep moving forward and fighting for something greater in your life. So don't give up. Don't think that if you've hit rock bottom, that that's the end, because you sometimes have to hit rock bottom to rebuild and have something that's more fruitful in your life. Because when you build a foundation on sand, it's going to sink or crumble. A lot of us built foundations thinking that that's exactly where we needed to be, not realizing that they were actually faulty foundations. That's been the majority of my life, not realizing it, because at one point I was arrogant, very, very arrogant. As a teenager, shoot, you could not tell me anything. I know. And now it's like, please tell me so I can see how that can create a different perspective or a better understanding in my life. Because every teacher is still learning. Every healer is still healing. Every aspect of life, we are not masters. We are all students. And this world is meant to help teach us about things about ourselves, things about others, things that we should utilize, things that we should avoid. We're here to learn and grow, and we can help each other do that. But you cannot do that from an arrogant standpoint of saying, I know you can't teach me. Okay, then shoo. You go over there and know everything on your own. Because a lot of us still have a lot of growing to do. A lot of us still have hopes and dreams and goals. And it's okay to work together as a team. Like we've all heard, teamwork makes the dream work. So just don't feel like you're alone. And hopefully you can sit in silence and endure the noise long enough to start understanding that, okay, you've got to clear out the static for the transmissions to come back, for the guidance to represent itself into your life, for that love to return into your heart, for that compassion to be a part of you again, because we've all been lost. We've all been duped. We've all been hurt. But just like I had to tell my daughter last night, the trauma you've experienced, you know how it made you feel, the fear, the hatred for yourself, the not understanding. You can go in life and present that to other people and make them feel the same exact way that you couldn't stand feeling, or you can go, you know what, I've been through that. Now let me help others never feel that kind of pain. Because pain can be debilitating. It can put you in a mindset to where you're just like, I'm done. So I'm just asking you not to give up. I'm sending you peace, love, and light. And hopefully we can all get back on the good foot together. Not saying you were ever not on the good foot, but, I wasn't. So toodles for now.